All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more of the Gold Road playthrough. So we are actually 3 quests away from 100%ing the zone. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the series so far. It is definitely a fun one. So yeah, 3 major stories. I don't know which one to pick. Let's just go. Let's see. We got one down here and then over here. All right, let's just do this one first. But yeah, if you guys haven't already checked out the playthrough, or this is the first video you've seen of mine for Elder Scrolls, check the link in the description to the playlist, and everything is all organized in order, so you can watch it at your own time. Pretty fun. All right, let's see, where are we going? Next time I run Lucent Citadel, which is the trial for this zone, I should probably record it.
Fancy meeting you here, friend. I hope you're not here for the auction at the Valente Vineyards. I'm certain the event bodes ill, but I'm reluctant to enter that nest of vipers alone. Would you be willing to join me? For ample compensation, of course. It isn't just any auction. It's run by and for vampires. Being a vampire myself, I can't help but wonder why Lord Gallio Valente, vineyard owner and vampire coven leader, wants to sell wine to other vampires. It's not like we partake of the stuff. Not exactly. I was hunting a violent vampire gang called the Terrors when I found an invitation to the auction. Inviting vampires to such an event is strange enough, but offering this Vesper Valente vintage? That has me concerned. Will you...
This character was from one of the older expansions. I believe it's Western Skyrim, I believe, like 2 or 3 chapters ago. So if you've played that or seen mine, these characters are familiar.
First, let's look around the vineyard. I want to examine the grapes they grow here. Besides, it's a good idea to get a feel for the grounds before we head into the auction. Never fear. This is exactly what House Ravenwatch trained me for. Oh, the usual. Advancing my studies, investigating for House Ravenwatch. I must say, I do like West Weald's climate. Much less damp and chilly than what we have over in Rivenspire. I will tell Adusa and Gwendis I ran into you, though. We're one of the noble houses of Rivenspire that just happens to be a coven of vampires. As I said, I was trying to pick up the trail of the Terrors. Violent vampires that were last seen heading toward the Weald when I found the invitation. Another troublesome vampire I was forced to deal with had it among his possessions. You did? That's one less problem I need to worry about then. As for the invitation, when things make no sense, I feel obliged to find clarity. Dangerous vampires, bidding on wine they cannot drink, hints at a mystery I cannot leave unsolved.
All right, let's do it. Investigate the battleground, or the ground.
This is no place. Ugliest hounds drove here.
You good?
Let's look more closely at those grapes. The scent wafting off those grapes.
You know how we've all seen like people stepping on the grapes to like mash it and everything? That has to be like the grossest thing. I'm pretty sure that's old-fashioned, and nowadays people just, you know, use the machine, squish the grapes.
It appears the grapes did not agree with this death hound. Curious. Let's talk.
Someone left this here? It's yours now.
Just as Count Ferrandis taught me, there is always something to learn if you simply pay attention. The field hand was attacked by a death hound, a sure indication of vampiric activity. And he provided... So you were listening. Good. The field hand described Gallio as different when he returned. He developed a new grape to make him richer and more powerful, and he recently married a high elf, but the marriage already seems troubled. The grapes were developed using alchemy. They've been infused with blood, and I find the aroma tantalizing. But I dare not try one. Look what consuming the grapes did to the Death Hound. Our next step is to attend the auction. You shall be my guest. The field hand assumed you were a guest of the auction, and the invitation did say to bring my most favored mortal servant. If anyone asks, you're the blood servant of Master Bogvir, the vampire I shall pretend to be and whose invitation I carry. The invitation indicates we're to head to the walled garden just east of the manor. I suppose that's where they're letting the guests gather prior to the start of the auction. Shall we proceed? Let's see. It promises an evening in the beautiful Colovian countryside, majestic views,
That's a trap.
new and innovative cultivation, a new vintage called Vesper Valente, the auction. Ah, yes. And this. Who says wine doesn't belong in a flask?
Uh-oh, they're selling people. And then, uh-oh.
I could be reading into things, but in some vampire circles, flask is used as a crude term to refer to a blood servant. Someone who willingly lets vampires feed on them, usually for compensation. Indeed. Though the vampire I acquired this invitation from wasn't the sort to rely on blood servants. He was extremely cruel. Preferred the thrill of the hunt and drank to kill. This event becomes stranger the more I try to make sense of it.
You don't say. All right, let's see. We're going to the auction. It's a nice gazebo they have there.
Halt! Your invitation, please.
Just a moment. Let's talk first.
It's kind of fancy. Hold on, I want a screenshot.
So, do I look like a Master Bogvir? Probably not.
What does that mean?
But we work with the tools we're given. Let's split up and mingle. Talk to servants, guests, whoever's willing to chat. Anything that can tell us the true purpose of this auction. Vampires don't need wine, especially made from grapes that apparently poisoned a death hound. Try not to come off as too curious, though. We're supposed to be guests here, after all.
That's good to know.
I am.
Weeding out
But
the
as soon
sus
as we
people.
walked in, I was hit with sudden pangs of hunger. Not unlike when I smelled those grapes, but much stronger. Luckily, I carry a flask of blood for times of need. I'll just find an out-of-the-way spot to take a sip.
Can I offer you a glass of our new Vesper Valente?
Certainly. I'm very curious about this wine.
I'd offer you a glass, but your friend just took the last one. I wasn't expecting that. None of the other guests I've served this evening even tried it. Only their attendants and servants. It is the vineyard's latest vintage, Vesper Valente. Lord Valente did tell us that his guests
She a
probably
vampire?
wouldn't want to try it before the auction, but that I should freely provide it to their attendants and servants. I have. Lord Valente was generous enough to let all the vineyard workers and servants have a glass before the guests arrived. It was salty and crisp, with a slight metallic aftertaste. Something to do with Lord Valente's alchemical process, I think.
You there! I am bored, and my hounds are hungry. Will the auction start soon, or must we continue this Colovian dance of manners and pleasantries while my gold sits unspent? Apologies. I mistook you for a Valente servant. Lord Valente is clever, and if the wine accomplishes a fraction of what he claims, the waiting will have been worth it. But I would prefer to simply buy what I want, and not deal with an auction. Haven't you tried it yet? You really must sample the vintage for yourself. I suggest you find a glass quickly, before the auction begins. All of the servants and attendants must have that wine flowing through their veins for the main event.
That's kind of sus.
I heard Lord Valente and his new bride loathe each other.
Welcome. I'm Lord Gallio Valente, the humble proprietor of Valente Vineyards and Winery. You, however, have me at a disadvantage. I do not believe we've met. Which of my acquaintances decided to bring you along as their guest today? Bogvir, of course. Where is my old friend? Still upset about that little incident? No matter. I was hoping to clear things up before the auction got underway. Send him over to talk to me the next time you see him. Oh, don't trouble yourself. Any guest of Bogvir's is welcome. Enjoy yourself, and do make sure to try the wine. Now, if you'll excuse me...
This whole thing is kind of sketch.
Another one of my husband's guests. No, you're either an attendant or a servant, I'd wager. Who brought you to my husband's little affair? Pray tell.
He doesn't look like a vampire.
Is that the name he uses now? You know, he bears a striking resemblance to an old acquaintance of mine. In fact, I'm sure of it. How is Fenorian? And why has he come to Valente Vineyard?
Ooh, she knows. Uh-oh. Conflict.
No. And why don't I believe you? No, don't worry. I have no desire to reveal Fenorian's deception to my husband. Not before I learn what's going on here, the same as you. Be so kind as to let Fenorian know I'd like to speak to him when he's free.
Ooh, she knows. What? Where are you? Okay.
This wine is specifically meant for the mortals here, not the vampires. So why are the vampires bidding on it? And why is my flask doing little to curb my rising hunger? Tell me you learned something more, my friend. I'm sorry? Did you say Lady Valente's name is Ursilia? Oh, she's that Ursilia. Should we leave? Maybe we can sneak out the way we came in. Right. We do need to figure out what's going on here. All right, I'll stay and talk to Ursilia. You head into the manor and see if you can find Lord Valente's office. Something in there might tell us more about the purpose of this wine. That's a story for another time, friend. Let's stay focused. You see what you can find in the manor, while I talk to Lady Valente. Don't worry, we can talk more later. In the meantime, go and search Lord Valente's office. He must have one inside the manor. Ledgers, journals, letters, alchemical notebooks. Anything that gives us some idea of Lord Gallio Valente's plans for the wine. Vampires can't drink it, but they're the ones invited to bid on it. We need to know why.
Okay, so here's my take on what I think the story is going to be. So basically, you know, like the wine is meant for non-vampires, right? So basically, all the people here are rich, like nobles and stuff, so they have like servants, and so I think the wine is going to be like spiked with something, and basically immortal or something unique. But we'll see. Basically, the wine, there's something different about it. It makes the normals, like people turn either into it or, you know. It's a nice manor, actually. It was very colorful.
You again? What are you doing in my husband's
Oh
office?
my god, she's on to us. Hello.
You
We're
and
cooked.
Fenorian, never in the right place at the right time. So, Did you find what you were looking for? Share it with me, and maybe I won't call down to the winery for my husband's army of mercenaries.
Yep.
Let me see that journal. By the stars, he killed his own father, and he plans to kill me. Oh, he's a cretin and a monster. And yes, pouring wine into people just so you can eat them and gain unnatural power is pretty bad too. Damn it! I drank the wine! I suspected something was
How
amiss.
do you not
Since I
know?
arrived, we haven't consummated our marriage, and he spends his time down in the winery, locked in his alchemy laboratory with his mercenaries. Plus, he covets my family's fortune. But a vampire makes sense. This vineyard could be a motherlode in the right hands. My hands, friend of Fenorian, not my husband's. I assume you're here to stop him, help Fenorian finish the task, and I'll forgive him for the affront he visited upon me and my family. Make sure you do.
She's on to
I intend to
us.
serve as a wine glass for my husband.
Oh my. Oh.
Celia, I suppose I owe you an explanation.
Of course you do, but
Let
I
me
don't
just
care.
slide out of
Just
here
a
real
friend deal with
quick.
my husband.
All right, if you say so. Lord Valente is well and truly into the auction now, so we have a bit of time. I never expected to find Ursilia here with you, though. What did you discover? And what did she mean by deal with her husband? Interesting. He really spells it out, doesn't he? Alchemically enhanced mushrooms used as fertilizer for alchemically treated grape seeds. And the hunger. I wasn't losing control, it's an effect of the grapes. Well, that's a relief. That does seem to be the general idea. If we allow this to spread, the ramifications will be staggering. Even relatively peaceful vampires might be tempted to start killing out of hand. We need to stop this. Oh, yes. I do suppose I owe her for that. I'm no hired assassin, but I do make a habit out of disposing of dangerous vampires. We will do what is necessary to end this threat. Nothing more, nothing less. And that begins with destroying the wine. Head downstairs and scout the area. I'll follow along shortly. I need to try to make things right with Ursilia. And maybe I have something in my alchemy kit to deal with the wine in her system. Just the smell of it makes me hungry. We were betrothed. A marriage arranged by our families.
That explains
There
so
might have been
much.
some affection there, but it was mostly a business agreement. When I became a vampire, I just left. I thought it would be a mercy. As much as I trust
feel like
you and
now is
value
not
your
the right
company, my
time.
friend, that's not a story I feel like sharing. Especially not here and now. Maybe someday. No. I didn't want to hurt anyone I knew. Ursilia, my family. So I simply left. Eventually, Count Verandis found me and made me part of House Ravenwatch. Rivenspire is a long way from Somerset, and West Weald is farther still. I never expected this. I'm not going to go out of my way to kill Gallio, if that's what you're asking. We do need to destroy his operation, though. This elixir turned wine is too dangerous to distribute to aggressive vampire clans. What happens after that is up to him.
All right, we out.
Before we talk, let me see if I've got anything that will flush the wine from your system.
I'm not drunk, Fenorian.
Let me guess. Here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna go investigate. He's gonna be down there. We're gonna have to fight him. Destroy the wine. That's the story. I've played Western Skyrim. I've done the story.
Vampires. We should expect a fight. Captives, and apparently under the influence of the wine. Friend, these workers must be some of the subjects Galio mentioned in his journal. They're on the verge of turning into blood fiends. I might be able to mix a counteragent with the proper ingredients. Grape pulp left over from the Vesper Valente wine. Wax flower petals to hasten the recovery process.
We're trying to do an operation. This dude's listing off ingredients.
You want to die? Fine.
You guys have ever done the Castle Thorn dungeon? I assume it's like this. A lot of these death hounds and everything. Very familiar. It is quite far, actually. How close is Sharp to level 20? I know he's level 19. 120,000 more XP. It's a grind. I gotta start doing the dailies and stuff.
Let's make this quick. Stay ready. Never know what else might be headed our way.
How many people are down here? What in the world?
Good. I'm glad you're back. Once I've brewed the counteragent, pick up the bucket and splash the remedy over our poor patients. It's not the most dignified way to administer medicine, but it works without putting either of you at risk. And that should do it. You're free to administer the cure. Looks like the effects are already subsiding.
You saved us. Please, you need to stop. Thank you for helping us. We really thought things were looking up. Lord Valente had such grand ideas for the vineyard and winery. He even asked us to try a new vintage he was working on. We felt so honored. Then we started to get sick and he locked us down here. Yes, it's right through those doors to the west. He's growing weird mushrooms and has all kinds of alchemical equipment. Destroy his equipment and burn the mushrooms.
We need to destroy that laboratory. You scout ahead while I work on free. Right behind you, friend.
It's very detailed, all these things.
This is it. The laboratory. We need to destroy it all. Let me explain, friend. Valente's alchemical equipment is truly impressive. It's a shame we have to destroy it. But we need to make sure... These vats turn the mushrooms into a fertilizer for the grapes. Increase the flames under the vats by adjusting the valves.
Oh no, not another one of these.
After that, set fire to the mushroom planters. Then get clear before the vats explode. A part of me hates... Turn up the flame valves as high as they'll go. I'll get rid of these research notes.
It's kind of scary, actually. Burn the mushroom planters.
A few well-placed torches should ignite the entire harvest.
Surely you watch it to make sure everything is burnt down, right? If you're gonna destroy evidence.
Ursilia, about your husband.
Not now, Fenorian.
You know what that's good for.
I have more important matters.
You'll figure it out.
As I was saying,
That was excellent work, friend. We destroyed Lord Gallio's laboratory and managed to rescue the workers he experimented on. There might be some ramifications over remaining Vesper Valente, but it won't become the sweeping problem I feared. We didn't have to. Ursilia told me she interrupted the auction and told Lord Gallio in a voice loud enough for all to hear that the Ravenwatch was on the premises. One mention of House Ravenwatch and the invited vampires fled the estate. Perhaps a few bottles were carried off, but none of them had time to load any casks or crates before they fled. I'll track them down eventually. And before I take my leave, I'll make sure the remaining vintage is destroyed. Ursilia is set on taking control and turning the vineyard and winery into a profitable enterprise. I have no doubt she'll succeed. And speaking of succeeding, your help was invaluable in stopping Lord Gallio. Please, take this with my thanks. I suppose you're off on another adventure now, friend. Know that I appreciate the assistance you provided, and the companionship. If you ever have need of House Ravenwatch, just send the word. We always have time for our friends.
That kinda went as I expected the story to. I thought we were gonna have to fight the dude, but apparently we didn't. Alright, well, we have 2 more quests to do. I thought that was a pretty solid one. I would rate that a 7 out of 10. And with that said, I'm gonna split the recording so we can just separate things by quests. And if you are interested, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys with the other 2 quests next time. Peace!